So, Ed, when we first spoke, I said something that could have come across a bit offensive about SmartPoint. I simply compared SmartPoint to when I go to a postage locker to send something back. However, now knowing more about SmartPoint, I know it's much more than that. So, could you explain a bit about yourself and your business?
Yeah, absolutely. And don't worry, we get that a few times now because obviously lockers are new to people. So people are seeing lockers and they think, I know what this is. But no, at SmartPoint, it's been super exciting because we've taken something which is so sort of mundane, a parcel delivery locker, and we've turned it into the future of digitalizing buildings and connecting basically anything in your city or from afar into your building. No? So basically, what we're doing is we're digitalizing buildings and we're connecting what the building tenants need from the outside and bringing it inside. No? So SmartPoint is more than a physical locker. That's our physical connection point, but we also have a digital connection point. And effectively now we've gone onto a great tenant experience, which is a platform of amenities. And we are connecting brands, products, services all the way inside of the building, and it's working because when you're in a building and they're providing you with services, I'm talking about gyms, I'm talking about the opportunity to have gym membership, laundry, obviously packages, no lie, that's a great service, but also returns. No, we now connected to companies that offer package returns, florists, pharmacies, anything, you name it, we're connecting from the outside, and it's done by the brands themselves, by the product. So we're not doing that service, we're literally linking. And the most exciting thing is this is based on a very known phenomenon called in-car commerce. We're making it in building commerce. So it's exciting.
Brilliant, brilliant. No, it sounds great, and we'll dive into a bit about the journey and the growth. But first, how did you come up with this idea? What was the inception of the idea for you?
Yeah, so I've always come at it from a services background. I started in real estate finance. So, lockers are generally used for logistics, for moving things, but I've always used this as a portal, as an entrance way for buildings. No, getting something inside of a building's lobby is an extremely valuable proposition. No, and so you want to maximize that value proposition. And just having, Amazon packages delivered isn't enough. No, we can do a lot more, particularly when we're looking at the sustainability. When you buy or order as a community or receive things as a community, it's a lot more sustainable than individually. So yeah, the idea came from that, and we've just been growing ever since with the possibilities, opening it up, making it agnostic.
Brilliant. Okay. And how long have you been operating, and what does the team size look like today?
Yep. So, I'm actually calling in from Barcelona. So, I'm originally from the UK. Set up operations across in Barcelona. It's a great ecosystem to start a business. With the expansion into Madrid, that was 2016, 17. We've been sort of testing product market fit, and we entered into the UK in 2023. So now we're in full ramp up. So now I travel a lot more back to the UK. Obviously that's where I'm from. Our team, we've kept it lean, we'll talk a little bit about AI and things like that. But, we're mainly focusing on our core product, our core commercial marketing. That's where we have most of our team, in R&D, product marketing, and we're about 25 people.
Okay, cool. And I think from my side of things, and probably from your side of things as well, your service, your solution is very much a win-win-win for every party involved. So how are you positioning the service, the solution to, say, landlords or the distributors of products?
Yeah, exactly. So it's a great question. No, so although it's a win-win-win, it still takes a while for people to understand it, etc. No, and we get quite often how you started this podcast, where people think, oh, it's a parcel delivery locker. No, so we really have to do a lot of consultative, a lot of education. No, the future for us is bigger, i.e., the bigger brands, the bigger things we can bring together than today. No,
Mm.
so we position ourselves as a digital platform, as well as a tenant experience. And people understand that. but there's a lot of great tenant engagement apps out there. No, and so we then have to differentiate ourselves as we are the connection point. No, so we are tenant experience, but we connect with your tenant experience app. We're all about the outside of your building, bringing that inside. To
Mm,
be honest, from the partnership standpoint, we're a great channel of distribution for their product, you know, and we're putting it in a real privileged position with a really nice communication. You know, we have a relationship with our tenants. So from their standpoint, it's definitely a lot more of a positive. It's the property owners who need to understand the value that we're bringing where we focus our time.
definitely. Yeah. And it's not just that initial commercial benefit that they get of extra revenue or however the commercial agreements are set up, but it's also the longevity of then attracting people to their sites, keeping the tenants for longer. So yeah, I can see how there's a lot of stuff that you can do around the education piece. Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, it if you can get it right, then it can expand very quickly, I imagine.
Yeah, and trends are in our favor now. So digitalization, service, tenant experience, this is all what's driving, like you say, those returns to the property owners. So we're inside of their sort of sphere of growth, which is great.
Definitely. So, what sort of growth on the percentage wise have you seen? Maybe a change in the last couple of years versus when you first set out. How has that changed?
Oh yeah, no, dramatically. You know, and that's across our sector, no, and also just lockers themselves, no. But we're seeing quite strong growth ourselves, particularly in the UK. You know, we're doubling in size year on year. The and also the uses, you know, the best thing about for me, Smart Point is when you get people returning to use it again and again, no.
Mhm.
And so as people get more accustomed to expecting things to be delivered in a locker and things like that, we're getting a lot more use. So yeah, from 3 years ago, it was certainly a lot more educational. Now we're getting a lot more inbound, which is great.
Perfect. Okay. And how are you targeting? How are you deciding on who to target? Are you looking at geographies? Are you looking at size of buildings? How are you differentiating?
Yeah. So our, excuse me, one sec. Our size of buildings is super important. We are, you know, a product that needs to have a minimum amount of people. So we're not sort of, you know, we're not a single ten buildings. So we have, you know, sort of 50 tenants and up is our size. That's the first one. And then geographical, we are based in and around London in the UK, and then the bigger city, Manchester as well. And we're opening up a little bit more in the north. So it is a product for across the nation, but certainly at this point now our two main focuses. Which tenant? Well, we know them. For us, this is a real attractive product for BTR, no, for buildings which are owned and are managed to, you know, sort of entice tenants and renters. We also have an office product, what works really well, specifically for multi-tenant offices. But I would say, you know, the great thing about the real estate industry is you know who the top 50 players are. No, so then it's about creating those conversations that we work on.
Okay, brilliant. And to go into a bit of the sales side of things, so you mentioned inbound. I imagine that's quite a strong channel for you. What other channels do you have in play for creating these relationships and partnerships?
Yeah, so obviously inbound is good, but inbound comes genuinely with the need of packages, which needs to be sold in Resi. No, like we're finding, you know, some of our locations have on average 6 parcels per month per user. No, so this is a high number. The average is about 2 or 3 right now across the whole of UK. So there are certainly more and more packages every day. But on the outbound side, you know, events work really well. LinkedIn relationship building. No, some of our investors, all of our investors, I should say, are in the real estate world. We've
Mm,
been in the real estate, you know, myself and my colleagues for a number of years. And it is just relying on that relationship to explain. You know, it can't be a hard sell because until people understand it, it's very difficult to do a hard sale. But that's how we do it. You know, outbound our network.
definitely. And would you say that, and I'm presuming here that it's more of or in the initial anyway, it was more of a blue ocean approach versus having a very saturated market, which led to a lot of the education piece. Is that still the case? Do you have many competitors in the same landscape?
Yeah, every company is a competitor when you're fighting for the same euro or the same pound or dollar. No, but absolutely, we have a differentiation which certainly plays to our strength. You could look at us as a parcel solving the parcel delivery needs in buildings, and we have to play in that field, no? And we are economically one of the best options. And with over 6 years, we have one of the best solutions as well. No, so we compete there, but we certainly see sort of other companies we're competing against. But inside the building, there's less competition than outside because most of the business models are for public networks.
Mm.
That's one. And then on the other side, we get towards touching the tenant engagement apps. And there's a lot of really well-funded tenant engagement apps. So there we are a lot more about working with them. It's super important that we keep our differentiation. Now, we bring amenities from outside and connect them into the buildings, but we don't get involved in building, sort of room reservations or door opening, capabilities, because that's what the other ones do. And there's a lot there. So we have to be very clear that we are value add onto the parcels and also not too far into the building to start to come across other competitors.
Brilliant. Okay. And talk to me a bit about the technology side because you're very tech focused at SmartPoint. So including the AI side of things and how people actually go about utilizing your solution. How does that look?
Yeah, exactly. So we have two connection points. A physical and a digital. And a physical, we have actually a big 32-inch screen. It's a big tactile interactive. We want people to be attractive, no? We put a lot of focus on that experience. So people can touch it and there they can explore. We have a button which says explore. And that just shows them all of the amenities, no? The other thing is we have the digital version, which is a web app, which can be integrated into tenant engagement apps already, or as a standalone app. That's how people interact. And because people want to receive packages, in offices or in resis, we get really high sign-ups. And once people are signed up, we then create a relationship with them. No, at this point, we have less AI than we're going to have in a few years' time. I think every company is in that same realm. But through email, through contacts, every time they use our product, we can send them some sort of more information about what we do. We create a relationship. All of our partners are linked via APIs, so they're integrated via APIs. All of our amenities are bespoke. We create them for that individual partner, and then we can just toggle on and toggle off into whichever building wants it. So the last piece of our product is the dashboard for the property owner or the portfolio. There they get all the data, they get all the insights, they can see what people are buying, what people like, and then, as I said, they can personalize their SmartPoint. And then the last thing to touch on AI, what excites me, it's not my area of expertise, but I'm going to hopefully find the right people to lead it forward. Is the idea of understanding your tenant more? No, we have a lot of data, a lot of wealth and knowledge, and we want to be able to understand that person. For example, person with a pet wants to receive pet amenities, but you don't want to be putting that in front of someone who doesn't have it. So that's where we're really going into understanding the tenant.
Brilliant. Okay, and yeah, I can see how very much I've been playing with this idea recently of you get two types of founders. You get a product-led founder and you get a sales-led founder. And I'd put you in the bucket of the product-led founder. I can see that from the conversation
Nice.
but I think being a product-led founder does sometimes bring some challenges around specifically around the sales and marketing a lot of the time. So what has been your solution? How have you overcome the hurdles of maybe not being so sales experienced?
Yeah, that's great. So we have three values. So the way we looked at it, because a year ago, PropTech just had a tough year. 2024 was hard for PropTech, no? So we come off a pretty good 2023, and then we hit a bit of a wall, like most other people, and we had to reinvent ourselves. And the way we did, actually, we went backwards. we created company values, which we already had, but we really focused on them. And one of them was integrity. And it was the integrity of the product and integrity of listening to that customer. So actually, we doubled down on making sure, because in difficult times, you've got to have a product that works, because the things that aren't working sort of, get overlooked, etc. So that was what we did. So we really focused on that. And we obviously tried to get as many case studies, get as much data as possible in front of our prospective and current clients. Now, a lot of our current clients have many more buildings that we could get into. So that's our approach we took, and I'm pretty happy we went that way, because I think some of the insights we got at the beginning of last year has really led for an exciting product by the end of this year. No, by the end of last year, which we're now launching now.
Okay, perfect. And I think we've touched on it already, the educational piece being a key part of your sales process. But I think if we're looking for the year ahead, 2025, where do you want to be? What would make 2025 a success for you?
Yeah, exactly. So, expansion growth, in the UK market is our number one focus right now. But I think more importantly is to do that, is to keep adding partners. We're looking at all sorts. Now, when I talk about partners, I'm talking about, there's a company called Kafla, which solves all of your needs for the car. No, so it'll even take your car to the MOT. You can do washing. Putting something like that together alongside some of these bigger brands that you've seen. We're talking to retailers to be able to do same day delivery into your building and free returns, directly with the retailer, not necessarily from an e-commerce, because it's more sustainable. So I'm really excited about when you plug in a smart point into your building. Right now, we offer 25 amenities at your choice. To get that to 50, but of just absolute class, and let those 50 amenities sell our product for us. Now, that's what I want to be. I don't even want to be talking about SmartPoint to our end users or our clients. I just want to be talking about all the cool stuff that it can do.
Perfect. Okay. And I also imagine the transition, or as the brand grows and the business grows, maybe some of the retailers that you had in the initial period aren't necessarily the retailers that you'd have towards the later stages of the business. So how do you balance that? How are you maybe striking up a deal or partnership with someone in the initial, and then actually something that's more commercially beneficial comes along? So how do you balance that?
Yeah, exactly. So integrity. There's a couple of things. There's network effects. No, so as we grow, the network effects build, and therefore we have an easier way to potentially get after the bigger brands or the more exciting products, etc. But obviously not forgetting the ones who helped you get there. But to be fair, the real truth is the data. It's not actually in our hands. It's in the hands of the user. And we give all of that data to our property owners as well. So with that transparency, they're the ones who decide. So we're not necessarily trying to be the ones who curate that list of amenities. We're trying to just be the socket that people can connect. But it's the user. And as I say, AI, we ultimately want every single personalized platform to be to the specifications of that individual user. No, so we try and keep an open approach and transparency to hopefully lead us the right way.
Perfect. No, that sounds great. Yeah, I can see how this is going to develop and hopefully pick up quite quickly, even further across 2025. So, what would, on your side of things, and I know as a founder and CEO, there's always a balance of different bottlenecks and different problems to solve. But what do you, if you could put your finger on one bottleneck that if you could wave a magic wand and solve today, what would that bottleneck be?
Yeah. So obviously the resources, no, we're a startup, we're a scale up, we're not the same resources. So putting more fire behind that growth. But before that, because that's obviously an answer for most people in our situation, the real bottleneck is still in the discovery. Now we're in the early stages. You've already picked up on, some things we might have at the beginning are not in the future. So it really is about learning, not going too fast, with what we're presenting, and try and, like I say, curate those amenities what really add value, because not everyone does. it's quite a difficult, you don't want to burn that relationship with the end user by putting things in front that they have no interest on. No. So that's our bottleneck, I guess. It's a little bit put on by ourselves, but also put on by our users. You can't overextend yourself, because then you'll lose your end client, and they're there, they normally live in those buildings for 10, 15 years. So you want to go with respect.
Definitely, definitely. Well, I'm looking forward to when I move to my new apartment, and hopefully there's a smart point in
That'd
the
be great.
block. So no, that's great. Ed, is there any message that you'd want to put out to users, or where people can find you, where people should check out the business?
Yeah, well, thanks for that. No, obviously, smartpoint.ai is our website. So you can reach out to us there. My email is probably the best. My name's Edward. So Edward at smartpoint.ai. And yeah, no, I'd love to reach out, and on LinkedIn as well, obviously. But yeah, I really appreciate it. This is a great podcast is a nice way you can get a little bit of information across here as well, and obviously on the sales and things that you do, it's super important, no? So from my standpoint, LinkedIn has been a great tool, and so it's always reachable via that forum.
Perfect. That sounds good. Well, thanks for that, Ed, and we will definitely get you back on maybe towards the end of the year and see how many more buildings you're in.
That'd be great. I'd appreciate that. So awesome. Take care. Thank you.